The jungle was alive with gunfire. Sergeant First Class Avery Collins crouched behind a fallen mahogany tree, her blue combat medic armband stark against the green-gray of Philippine rainforest. 50 meters ahead, her unit was pinned down by hostile fire from fortified positions on a hill. She was assessing her next move, 3 wounded already, 2 critical, when she heard the call that changed everything. "Medic! Commander's down! Commander down!" Major Thomas Garrett, the officer leading their counterterrorism operation, had taken fire. Avery saw him fall, saw his HK-417 tumble from his hands and skitter across the muddy ground. The battlefield math was brutal. If Garrett died, command structure collapsed. If command collapsed, 22 American operators and their Filipino allies would be cut to pieces by an enemy that knew this terrain better than they did. Avery grabbed her medical kit and ran. Bullets snapped through the vegetation, rounds chewed apart tree trunks and sent splinters flying like shrapnel. She covered 40 meters in seconds that felt like hours, throwing herself down beside Garrett's position. "Sir, where are you hit?" Garrett was conscious but struggling. Blood soaked his tactical vest. "Chest? Left side? Can't breathe properly." Avery's hands moved with practiced efficiency, cutting away his vest, assessing the wound. The bullet had entered high on the left chest, probably missed the heart but might have collapsed a lung. Blood bubbled from the entry wound with each labored breath. Tension, pneumothorax. He'd suffocate if she didn't decompress the chest cavity. "Sir, I need to do a needle decompression. It's going to hurt." "Do it." She prepped the needle, found the anatomical landmark, second intercostal space, mid-clavicular line, and drove the catheter into his chest wall. There was a hiss of escaping air as pressure released from the pleural space. Garrett gasped, his breathing immediately easier. "Better?" "Yeah, better." Garrett's eyes focused on her. "Collins, the operation. We're losing tactical cohesion. Lieutenant Parker's good, but he doesn't have the full picture." "Sir, my job is keeping you alive." "Your job is whatever keeps this unit alive." Garrett grabbed her arm with surprising strength. "Parker!" "Lieutenant Parker," a voice crackled over the radio clipped to Garrett's vest. "Sir?" "Parker, Collins is going to relay tactical commands from me. She can see the battlefield from this position. Follow her directions. That's an order." "Sir, a medic can't." "She can and she will. Collins, take my radio. Tell Parker that hostile forces are attempting to flank through the creek bed on our right. He needs to reposition 3rd Fire Team to counter it." Avery looked at the terrain, tracking the likely enemy movement through the jungle. Garrett was right. The creek bed offered concealed approach to the American right flank. If the enemy got through there, the entire defensive line would collapse. She keyed the radio. "Lieutenant Parker, this is Specialist Collins. Hostiles are using the creek bed to flank right. 3rd Fire Team needs to shift position to block the approach. Collins, I don't take orders from a medic. You're taking them from Major Garrett, sir. I'm just relaying. She watched another wounded soldier being dragged to cover 30 meters away. And I need to get back to treating casualties, so please acknowledge the order." A pause. Then, 3rd Fire Team is moving. Who else is wounded? 3 critical, 2 stable. I'll get to them once Major Garrett is stabilized. She turned back to Garrett. The needle decompression had bought him time, but he was losing blood. She needed to pack the wound, establish IV access, get fluids running, standard trauma protocol. But Garrett's hand shot out, pointing. "Collins, the HK-417. There, 15 meters. The rifle lay in the open, exactly where it had fallen when Garrett went down. A beautiful weapon, 7.62 millimeters, accurate, powerful. The Major's personal choice because he preferred the stopping power over the standard 5.56 millimeter M4. "Sir, I need to focus on your treatment. You need to focus on keeping us alive. Parker's redeploying 3rd Fire Team. That's going to create a gap in our center. Hostiles will see it and push through. Someone needs to suppress that advance until Parker can reposition." "Sir, I'm a medic. I'm not qualified." "You qualified expert with the M4 in basic, didn't you?" "Yes, but HK-417 is just a bigger rifle, same manual of arms, and that gap in our center is about to become a breakthrough point." Garrett's eyes locked on hers. Collins, I'm ordering you to provide suppressive fire on that hostile position while continuing to coordinate defensive operations. Can you do that? Avery looked at the wounded soldiers who needed treatment. At the HK-417 lying in the open. At the enemy positions on the hill where muzzle flashes marked shooter locations. She was a combat medic. Geneva Conventions said medics were protected personnel. The blue armband meant she focused on saving lives, not taking them. But right now, saving lives meant preventing the defensive line from collapsing. Sir, you need to keep pressure on this wound. She positioned his hand over the packed entry wound. I'm going to get that rifle. Don't die while I'm gone. Wasn't planning on it. Avery sprinted to the HK-417. Rounds cracked past her. She grabbed the weapon, checked the chamber, loaded, ready, and sprinted back to Garrett's position. The rifle felt heavy. Heavier than the M4 she'd trained with. But the controls were familiar. Safety magazine, selector switch, optic sight. She raised the weapon, found a target through the scope, a hostile fighter in a fortified position 70 meters uphill. She'd never fired a 7.62 millimeter rifle in combat. She'd barely fired one in training. But the fundamentals were the same. Breath control, trigger squeeze, follow through. She fired. The recoil surprised her, much heavier than the M4. But the hostile fighter she'd aimed at dropped. Either she'd hit him or he'd taken cover. Collins, Parker's repositioning, but it's taking too long. Tell him to use smoke to cover the movement. She keyed the radio while acquiring another target. Lieutenant Parker, deploy smoke to cover 3rd Fire Team's movement. Already on it. Where's that suppressive fire the Major mentioned? I'm working on it, sir. Avery fired again. Another target down. The HK-417's optic was zeroed perfectly. Garrett's personal weapon maintained to exacting standards. Hostile positions are marked by my fire. Concentrate your support weapons on those locations. Roger, I see your impacts. Adjusting fire. The sound of American machine guns intensified as the support weapons shifted their aim to the positions Avery was marking with her rifle fire. The enemy advance stalled. Collins, check the left flank, Garrett said, his voice weaker. I saw movement in those rocks. Avery shifted her aim, scanning through the optic. There, 4 fighters moving through a boulder field on the left, trying to get into position to enfilade the American line. She engaged them methodically. 4 shots, 3 went down, the 4th retreated. Left flank threat neutralized, she reported to Parker, but you need to extend your left side defensive positions. They're going to try that approach again. 2nd Fire Team is moving. How's the Major? Avery glanced at Garrett. His color was poor. Breathing labored despite the chest decompression. He needed a medevac. Soon. He needs evacuation. What's the status on the QRF? Quick reaction forces inbound, 20 minutes. But the LZ is too hot. We need to suppress those hilltop positions before the bird can land. 20 minutes. Garrett might not have 20 minutes. But if they couldn't get a helicopter in because of hostile fire, nobody was getting evacuated. Understood. I'll mark the priority targets. Avery fired again, the HK-417's heavy round punching through the jungle vegetation and finding a hostile machine gun position. That position, bearing 270, that's their primary suppression platform. Take it out and the LZ becomes viable. We're on it. Keep marking targets. Avery divided her attention between Garrett's medical status and the tactical situation. Every 30 seconds, she checked his vitals, pulse, breathing, level of consciousness. Between checks, she fired on priority targets, coordinated fire team movements, and kept the defensive line from collapsing. It was impossible. She was a medic, not an infantry officer. She didn't have the training for tactical coordination. She'd never engaged multiple enemy positions with a battle rifle while simultaneously treating a critical casualty. But she was doing it anyway, because nobody else could. Collins, Garrett said quietly, you're keeping us alive. All of us. Just doing my job, sir. Your job is saving lives. Right now you're doing it with a medical kit and a rifle at the same time. That's not standard combat medic procedure. Standard procedure doesn't work when the commander's down and the unit's about to be overrun, sir. Garrett managed a weak smile. Remind me to put you in for a medal when we get out of this. Let's focus on the getting out of this part first, sir. The firefight continued. Avery marked targets. American weapons responded, systematically reducing the enemy's ability to suppress the landing zone. 15 minutes, 10 minutes, then the sound everyone had been waiting for. Helicopter rotors. QRF inbound, 2 minutes, Parker called. Collins, we need that LZ clear. Concentrating fire on hilltop positions now. Avery switched to rapid fire, dumping rounds into the enemy strongpoint that had the best angle on the landing zone. The HK-417's magazine ran dry. She reloaded, Garrett's spare mag from his vest, and continued firing. American machine guns joined in, saturating the hilltop with suppressive fire. The enemy fire slackened. The Black Hawk came in fast and low, flared hard, touched down. Let's go. Let's go. Collins, get him on that bird, Parker ordered. Avery slung the HK-417 across her back, couldn't leave a weapon for the enemy, and grabbed Garrett's drag handle. He was a big man, easily 200 pounds of muscle and gear, but she'd trained for this. She pulled, using her legs, getting him moving toward the helicopter. Other soldiers helped. They got Garrett aboard, then the other 3 critical casualties. Avery climbed in last, her blue medic armband now stained with mud and blood. As the helicopter lifted, hostile fire resumed. Rounds pinged off the armored hull. But they were airborne, climbing, clearing the danger zone. Avery knelt beside Garrett, rechecking his vitals. The flight medic moved in to help, but she waved him to the other casualties. I've got the major. Check the others. Garrett's eyes opened. Collins, we made it. We? Yes, sir. And you're going to be fine. Chest wound is packed, bleeding controlled, airway secured. You'll be in surgery in 30 minutes. The unit? Lieutenant Parker has operational control. The QRF is reinforcing the position. We held the line. We held the line, Garrett repeated, with a combat medic coordinating the defense and engaging enemy positions with my rifle. He coughed, winced. That's going to be an interesting after-action report. Sir, just rest. Don't talk. Collins, what you did back there, that's not what medics do. I did what needed to be done to keep you alive and prevent the unit from being overrun. That's exactly what medics do. Garrett smiled despite the pain. Then you're one hell of a medic. The helicopter banked toward the field hospital. Avery kept working, checking bandages, monitoring vitals, preparing Garrett for handoff to the surgical team. But in her peripheral vision, she could see the HK-417 slung across her back, the weapon she'd used to engage enemy positions while treating casualties and coordinating defensive operations. She'd never wanted to be a combat soldier. She'd joined the army to save lives, to heal, to make a difference through medicine rather than violence. But today, she'd saved lives by doing both, and she couldn't decide if that made her a better medic or a completely different kind of soldier. The hospital at Clark Air Base in the Philippines was efficient and well-equipped. Garrett went directly into surgery. The doctor said he'd recover fully. The bullet had missed major organs, and Avery's immediate treatment had prevented the collapsed lung from killing him. She sat in the waiting area, still in her mud-stained uniform, the blue medic armband a bright spot of color against the camouflage. Her hands shook slightly from residual adrenaline. Lieutenant Parker found her. Collins, how's the major? In surgery. Doctors say he'll be fine. Good. Parker sat beside her. We need to talk about what happened out there. Sir, if this is about me taking tactical control, it's about you saving our asses, all of us. Parker looked tired but animated. Collins, I've been an infantry officer for 6 years. I've worked with dozens of combat medics, never seen one do what you did today. I was just following Major Garrett's orders, sir. Bullshit. Garrett gave you initial directions, but after that, you were making tactical decisions independently, reading the battlefield, engaging targets, coordinating fire team movements. Parker shook his head. And you were treating casualties at the same time. How? Training, sir, and necessity. Your training is medical, not tactical coordination, not designated marksmanship with a 7.62 millimeter battle rifle. Avery didn't know how to respond. He was right. She'd operated outside her training, outside her designated role. She'd done things combat medics weren't supposed to do. "Sir, Major Garrett was down. Someone needed to prevent the tactical situation from collapsing. I had the best position to see the battlefield, so I did what needed to be done. You did what a squad leader or platoon sergeant would do. While treating a sucking chest wound and engaging enemy positions with a rifle you'd never fired in combat before." Parker leaned forward. "Collins, you understand this changes things, right? The brass is going to want to talk to you, figure out what happened, maybe change protocols." "Change protocols?" "For how combat medics operate in small unit actions. What you did today, operating as medic, tactical coordinator, and designated marksman simultaneously. That's not in any manual. But it worked. It kept us alive." Before Avery could respond, a colonel she didn't recognize entered the waiting area. "Specialist Collins?" she stood. "Yes, sir." "Colonel Richard Stone, battalion commander. I need you to come with me. The brigade commander wants a debrief on today's operation." "Sir, I'm waiting for word on Major Garrett." "Major Garrett is in good hands, and this debrief can't wait. Lieutenant Parker, you're coming too." They followed Stone to a conference room where Brigadier General Patricia Vega was reviewing tactical maps and after-action reports. She looked up as they entered. "Specialist Collins, have a seat." Avery sat, suddenly very aware of how dirty and disheveled she looked compared to the crisp uniforms of the senior officers. "I've been reviewing the reports from today's operation," Vega said. "Multiple witnesses say you coordinated the defensive operation after Major Garrett was wounded. Is that accurate?" "I relayed Major Garrett's orders to Lieutenant Parker, ma'am. The Major maintained tactical command." "For how long?" "Until he lost consciousness during the medevac, ma'am." "So you were operating under direct orders from Major Garrett the entire time?" Avery hesitated. That wasn't quite accurate. After the first few minutes, she'd been making independent tactical decisions, but admitting that might get her in trouble. Lieutenant Parker spoke up. "Ma'am, Specialist Collins made several independent tactical decisions after the initial orders from Major Garrett. She identified a flanking threat, coordinated fire team repositioning, marked priority targets for suppressive fire, and engaged multiple enemy positions with Major Garrett's HK-417, all while treating his critical chest wound." "I see." Vega studied Avery. "Specialist, you're a combat medic. You're not trained for tactical coordination. Where did you learn those skills?" "I didn't, ma'am. I could see what needed to happen. The terrain, the enemy positions, where our people were vulnerable. So I told Lieutenant Parker what I saw." "And you engaged enemy combatants with a 7.62 millimeter battle rifle you'd never fired before." "Major Garrett ordered me to provide suppressive fire, ma'am. The HK-417 was the available weapon. I used it." "How many enemy combatants did you engage?" Avery tried to remember. "I don't know exactly, ma'am. Maybe 10, 12. I was focused on keeping them from overrunning our position and preventing them from suppressing the landing zone." Vega exchanged a look with Colonel Stone. "Lieutenant Parker, what's your assessment of Specialist Collins's actions?" "Ma'am, she saved Major Garrett's life with immediate medical treatment. She prevented our defensive line from collapsing through tactical coordination, and she eliminated or suppressed multiple enemy positions that threatened the medevac. Without her actions, we'd have taken significant casualties, possibly lost the entire unit." "Colonel Stone, your assessment?" "Ma'am, what Specialist Collins did is unprecedented. Combat medics don't typically operate as tactical coordinators or designated marksmen. But the unique circumstances, Major Garrett wounded, enemy pressure threatening to overwhelm the unit, Collins's position giving her overview of the battlefield, created a situation where her actions were necessary and appropriate." Vega nodded slowly. "Specialist Collins, you're aware that combat medics are protected under the Geneva Conventions? That wearing the blue armband signifies you're medical personnel, not a combatant?" "Yes, ma'am." "And you're aware that engaging in sustained combat operations could be interpreted as a violation of that protected status?" Yes, ma'am." but I was defending wounded personnel and enabling their evacuation. That falls under medical duties. A creative interpretation. Vega smiled slightly, but not inaccurate. Collins, what you did today saved American lives. Nobody's going to punish you for that. However, there are questions we need to answer about combat medic training, about their role in small unit operations, about whether we're adequately preparing medics for situations like the one you faced. Ma'am, I just did what Major Garrett ordered me to do. And then you did considerably more than that, which is why you're being recommended for the Silver Star. Avery's eyes widened. Ma'am, I don't deserve... Major Garrett submitted the recommendation before going into surgery. Lieutenant Parker endorsed it. Colonel Stone supports it, and I'm approving it. Vega stood. Collins, you demonstrated exceptional valor under fire. You saved your commanding officer's life, coordinated a defensive operation, and engaged enemy forces to protect wounded personnel. That's exactly the kind of action the Silver Star recognizes. I was just doing my job, ma'am. Your job is saving lives. Today you saved them with a medical kit and a rifle at the same time. That's remarkable. Own it. Vega headed for the door, then paused. Get cleaned up, specialist, and get some rest. Tomorrow you're briefing the staff on tactical lessons learned. Dismissed. Avery left the conference room in a daze. Silver Star, briefing the staff. She was a combat medic. She treated wounded soldiers. She wasn't a tactical coordinator or a briefer or whatever the general thought she was. Parker walked with her. You okay? Sir, I don't understand what's happening. I'm a medic. Why is everyone treating me like I'm some kind of tactical genius? Because you operated like one. Collins, what you did today demonstrated something the Army's been debating for years. Can combat medics function as full members of the tactical team, not just medical support? Parker smiled. You proved they can, whether you intended to or not. I didn't intend anything. I just wanted to keep Major Garrett alive. And in doing so, you showed that combat medics in small unit operations need to be more than just healers. They need to be warriors who choose healing first, but who can fight when necessary. That's what you are now. Accept it. 3 months later, Fort Sam Houston, Texas, the Army Medical Department Center and School. Avery stood in front of a classroom full of combat medic students, feeling deeply uncomfortable. Major Garrett, fully recovered, back to active duty, had introduced her. Now she was supposed to lecture about tactical decision-making for combat medics. Her, a specialist who'd been a combat medic for less than 3 years. Hi, she started awkwardly. I'm Specialist Collins. I'm here to talk about what happened in the Philippines when Major Garrett was wounded. The students, 20 of them, all in training to be combat medics, stared at her with a mix of curiosity and awe. So, the situation was... She walked through it. The firefight, Garrett going down, the chest wound, the tactical situation deteriorating. Major Garrett ordered me to coordinate the defense while treating his wound. I didn't want to. I'm a medic. That's not my job. But he was right. Someone needed to do it, and I had the best position to see the battlefield. One student raised his hand. Specialist, how did you know what orders to give? You're not infantry trained. I'm not. I just looked at the terrain, watched how the enemy was moving, figured out where they were trying to go. Then I told our people how to stop them. She shrugged. It wasn't fancy tactics, just common sense. And the rifle, the HK-417? Major Garrett's weapon. He told me to use it to suppress enemy positions that threatened the medevac. She paused. I'd never fired a 7.62 millimeter rifle in combat before. But the fundamentals are the same as any weapon. Aim, squeeze, follow through. How many did you... I don't know. I wasn't counting. I was focused on keeping the enemy from overrunning our position and threatening wounded soldiers. Major Garrett, standing at the back of the room, spoke up. Tell them about the tactical coordination, Collins. The fire team repositioning, the smoke deployment, the priority target marking. Avery sighed. Major Garrett was wounded but still conscious. He could see some of the battlefield but not all of it. So he told me what to look for, and I relayed what I saw to Lieutenant Parker. Parker made the tactical decisions. I just provided information. Modest, Garrett said to the class, but inaccurate. Collins made independent tactical decisions that prevented our unit from being overrun. She operated as medic, tactical coordinator, and designated marksman simultaneously. That's not modest. That's extraordinary. The students looked at Avery with something approaching reverence. She hated it. Look, she said, I'm not some tactical genius. I'm a combat medic who got put in an impossible situation and did what I had to do to keep people alive. That's the job. All of you are going to face situations where the standard procedures don't work. When that happens, you adapt. You do what needs to be done. Medical kit or rifle or radio, whatever keeps your people alive. But how do we know what to do? You trust your training. You stay calm. You assess the situation systematically. She thought back to that hillside in the Philippines. And you accept that sometimes saving lives means fighting. I didn't want to pick up that rifle. I'm a healer. But at that moment, healing meant preventing enemy fighters from killing wounded Americans. So I fought. The lecture continued. Avery walked them through the tactical decisions, the medical procedures, the coordination challenges. She tried to demystify it, to show them that what she'd done was just applied common sense under extreme pressure. But she could see they didn't believe her. To them, she was the medic who'd grabbed her commander's gun and become legend, the specialist who'd coordinated a defensive operation while treating a sucking chest wound, the healer who could fight when necessary. After class, Garrett found her. You did well. Sir, I don't know why you wanted me to do this. These students need to learn from real instructors, not someone who got lucky once. Lucky? Garrett raised an eyebrow. Collins, what you did wasn't luck. It was skill, courage, and adaptability. Those students need to see that. They need to know that combat medics can operate at that level. Sir, I'm just a medic. You're the medic who saved my life and prevented a unit from being overrun. You're the medic who demonstrated that our medical personnel can function as full tactical team members when necessary. You're the medic who proved that healers can fight. Garrett smiled. You're a legend, Collins, whether you like it or not. I don't like it, sir. I know, but it's true anyway. He gestured to a folder on the desk. Your Silver Star citation was approved. Ceremony is next month. You're also being promoted to sergeant, and there's talk of creating a new combat medic specialization based on your actions, advanced tactical medic or something like that. Medics who are cross-trained in infantry tactics and enhanced weapons qualification. Sir, that's not necessary. It is. You proved it's necessary. Collins, you changed how the Army thinks about combat medics. Accept it. Own it. Use it to make our medical personnel better prepared for the impossible situations they're going to face. Avery looked at the Silver Star citation, at the promotion orders, at the proposal for advanced tactical medic training. She just wanted to save lives, to be a good medic, to help people. But she'd ended up changing doctrine, becoming a legend, proving that combat medics were more than just healers. They were warriors who chose healing first, but who could fight when their people's lives depended on it. Sir, I'm still just a medic. No, Collins. You're the medic who saved her commander in a firefight, then grabbed his gun and became legend. That's who you are now. Accept it. Maybe he was right. Maybe that day in the Philippine jungle had revealed something about herself she hadn't known existed. Or maybe she was still the same person, someone willing to do whatever it took to keep her people alive. Medical kit or rifle, healing or fighting, whatever the mission required. The medic who saved her commander, then grabbed his gun, and proved that healers could be warriors when necessary. Legend. 6 weeks later, the Silver Star ceremony at Fort Bragg drew more attention than Avery expected. The brigade commander pinned the medal on her dress uniform, while Major Garrett stood at attention in the front row, fully recovered and grinning with pride. The citation was read aloud. For gallantry in action against an armed enemy, demonstrated exceptional courage by providing life-saving medical treatment to her critically wounded commander, while simultaneously coordinating defensive operations and engaging hostile forces with precision fire. Her actions under extreme duress prevented the loss of American lives and ensured mission success. It still felt surreal. She'd just done what needed to be done, hadn't she? After the ceremony, a young private approached her hesitantly. Sergeant Collins, I'm shipping out to medic training next month. I wanted to ask, are you scared when you have to fight instead of heal? Avery considered the question carefully. Every time. Fighting isn't what I trained for. It's not who I am. But sometimes it's what's necessary to protect the people I'm trying to save. So how do you deal with it? I remember why I'm there. I'm a medic. My job is keeping people alive. If that means treating wounds, I treat wounds. If it means coordinating fire, I coordinate fire. If it means picking up a rifle. She touched the silver star on her chest. Then I pick up the rifle. Whatever keeps my people breathing. The private nodded slowly. That's what they mean when they say you became a legend. I became a medic who refused to let her people die. That's all. But even as she said it, Avery knew it wasn't quite true. She'd become something more that day in the jungle, proof that combat medics could operate at the highest level when circumstances demanded it. Major Garrett found her after the ceremony ended. How does it feel? Strange, sir. I'm still processing everything. You changed doctrine, Collins. The Army's implementing that advanced tactical medic program based on your actions. Future combat medics will train for exactly what you did, operating as both healer and tactical operator when necessary. Sir, I just hope they're better prepared than I was. They will be, because you showed us what's possible. Garrett smiled. And for what it's worth, I'm glad you were there that day. I'd be dead without you.